At 89, Robert Redford admits he was the only person who could do that to him. Robert Redford was born Charles Robert Redford Jr. on August 18, 1936 in Santa Monica, California. Over many years, he showed himself to be not only a great actor, but also a creative director, producer, and someone who gave back to others, with his influence reaching far beyond just movies. From his earliest days, Redford stood out as someone special, mixing handsome looks with deep feelings that made audiences love him right away. His life story isn't just about a successful entertainer, but also about a man who always tried to use his fame to inspire people, to tell important stories, and to create chances for others in the movie business. Redford's early life had both hard times and good opportunities. Growing up in Southern California, he became interested in sports, especially baseball, and for a while dreamed of becoming a professional athlete. However, things led him in a different direction. After high school, he went to the University of Colorado on a baseball scholarship for a short time, but his school life was difficult and he left. What could have been a failure actually became a turning point. He traveled to Europe, spending time in Paris and Florence, soaking up culture, art, and new ideas. This life-changing time woke up his love for creativity and storytelling. When he came back to the United States, he took art classes at Brooklyn's Pratt Institute and studied acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, building the base for a career that would soon take off. By the early 1960s, Redford was working his way into television and stage shows, where his natural presence and good looks made him stand out. He appeared in guest roles on shows like Maverick and The Twilight Zone, slowly building his reputation. His Broadway debut came with Neil Simon's Barefoot in the Park in 1963, a role that would later follow him to the movie version, getting him a lot of attention. This performance showed the full range of his charm, boyish, funny, and romantic, qualities that would make him famous as the 1960s turned into the golden age of his movie career. The late 1960s and 1970s were important years for Redford, making him one of Hollywood's biggest stars. His big break came in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969, where he starred alongside Paul Newman. Their chemistry was electric, and Redford's acting as the Sundance Kid made him a movie legend. This was followed by The Sting 1973, again with Newman, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture and made his reputation even stronger. He quickly became known for roles that balanced action, smartness, and tough choices, appearing in praised films such as The Candidate, 1972, Jeremiah Johnson, 1972, The Way We Were, 1973, and All the President's Men, 1976. The last one was a powerful story about investigative journalism during the Watergate time. Each role added another layer to Redford's image, making him not just a movie idol, but an actor with depth whose work showed the political and cultural issues of his time. As the years went on, Redford refused to just stick to acting alone. He turned to directing, quickly showing that his talent extended behind the camera as well. His first directed movie, Ordinary People, 1980, was a huge success, earning him an Academy Award for Best Director and winning Best Picture. The film's close-up look at family pain and emotional holding back showed his commitment to telling human, thoughtful stories. He continued to direct praised films such as A River Runs Through It, 1992, Quiz Show, 1994, and The Horse Whisperer, 1998, each of which showed his deep love for character-driven stories and his skill with visual storytelling. Beyond his work in Hollywood, Redford's legacy is also marked by his creation of the Sundance Institute and the Sundance Film Festival, which he founded in 1981. What started as a small gathering in Utah grew into one of the most important platforms for independent cinema in the world. Redford's vision was to give opportunities to new voices and different storytellers, and his commitment to helping independent film has changed the landscape of cinema forever. Many of today's most respected directors and writers got their first big break thanks to Sundance, and Redford's name has become another word for artistic honesty and support for real independent voices. Robert Redford's personal life has been shaped by two important marriages, each representing different chapters in his long and many-sided life. His first marriage was to historian and activist Lola Van Wagen, whom he married on August 9th, 1958 in a quiet and simple ceremony in Las Vegas, Nevada. At the time, Redford was a young man just beginning to chase his career in the arts. While Lola was pursuing her own school and thinking passions, their marriage would last nearly 3 decades, a partnership that brought both happiness and sadness. Together, they had 4 children: Scott, Anthony, Shauna Jean, David James, and Amy Hart. Their firstborn son, Scott, sadly died of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, at only 2.5 months old, a loss that left a permanent mark on Redford and Lola, shaping their views on family, strength, and how fragile life is. Despite the grief, the couple continued to build a home life, raising their surviving children and supporting each other as Redford's career grew from promising actor to one of the most recognizable stars of his time. Lola Van Wagen was not simply a Hollywood spouse. She was an accomplished woman in her own right. Deeply interested in history, social justice, and education, she pursued schoolwork and later became a supporter for women's rights, sustainability, and public education programs. Her independent achievements and thinking drive balanced Redford's creative and public career. But the pressures of fame, constant travel, and changing personal interests slowly put strain on the marriage. After 27 years together, Redford and Van Wagen officially divorced in 1985, closing one of the longest-running marriages in Hollywood at the time. Despite the divorce, both people kept respect for one another, and their children remained a central connection between them. Years later, Redford found love again with Sibylle Sagers, a German-born painter and multimedia artist. The two first met in the 1990s, and their relationship grew slowly and steadily over the years, marked by a shared love for the arts and environmental causes. Sibylle, known for her emotional and nature-inspired artworks, matched Redford's lifelong passion for conservation, storytelling, and the environment. Their partnership was both romantic and working together, as they often appeared together at artistic and giving back events. After spending more than a decade together, they married in July 2009 in a private ceremony held at the luxury Louis C. Jacob Hotel in Hamburg, Germany. The wedding was intimate, attended by close friends and family, and showed their desire for privacy and simplicity rather than celebrity show. With Sibylle, Redford entered a new phase of life marked by a quieter pace. While he continued to stay active in film and environmental work, his marriage to Sibylle gave him a sense of stability and calmness in his later years. She became a constant presence by his side at film festivals, Sundance events, and world meetings on art and climate change, blending her artistic vision with his legacy as a filmmaker and activist. At the age of 89, Robert Redford, the legendary actor, director, and cultural icon, looked back on his life, his career, and most of all on the rare friendships that had truly shaped him. In an honest moment, he admitted something that surprised those who knew him well for his quiet, careful personality. He was the only one who could do that to me. Redford was speaking, of course, about his late friend and co-star Paul Newman, a man whose life and career had run parallel to his own in ways that still seemed almost strange. Redford's comment was not just about respect, but about being vulnerable, something he rarely admitted publicly. Known for his reserved nature and tough presence, Redford had built an entire career around a certain distance, a calm outside that hid his private struggles. Yet with Newman, something was different. Paul had this way of cutting through the nonsense, Redford admitted. He could disarm me, make me laugh at myself, even when I was trying to be serious. Nobody else could ever do that. He broke down walls I didn't even know I had. The two men first met when they were brought together for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in 1969. At the time, Newman was already a superstar while Redford was still climbing. Many in Hollywood expected their pairing to lead to competition, even bad feelings. Instead, something amazing happened. They clicked instantly on screen and off. I couldn't walk into a room with Paul and not feel his energy, Redford admitted. He had this playful sparkle in his eye that dared you to loosen up, to stop taking yourself so seriously. The chemistry that audiences loved was real, built on mutual respect and a natural sense of play. Their partnership carried over to The Sting in 1973, another success that made them one of the most famous pairs in Hollywood history. But their bond went far beyond cameras and scripts. Off-screen, they shared private jokes, pranks, and a sense of brotherhood that neither had experienced anywhere else in the industry. Redford remembered, "Paul was relentless when it came to teasing me. He loved pulling my leg, and I couldn't help but fall for it every time. He made me laugh in ways that shook me to the core. That was his gift. He could reach the part of me I kept hidden." Over the years, their lives went different ways, with Newman balancing acting, car racing, and giving back, while Redford devoted himself not only to film, but also to environmental causes and the founding of Sundance. Still, the connection lasted. They didn't have to speak every day or even every month. Their friendship was one of those rare bonds that time and distance could never weaken. Even in silence, Paul was present. Redford thought back. "I could go months without seeing him, but the moment we met again, it was as if no time had passed." He had that effect. Grounding, steady, and deeply human. When Newman passed away in 2008, Redford admitted he felt a deep emptiness. For a man who had weathered the highs and lows of fame, personal loss, and creative challenges, the absence of Newman hit with unusual force. "I couldn't walk after I heard the news," Redford said softly. "It was like losing a part of myself." Paul wasn't just a co-star. He was a compass. He reminded me of who I was when the world was trying to tell me otherwise. Even now, as he looked back on his long and remarkable life, Redford spoke of Newman not in terms of memories of the past, but in living presence. To him, Paul Newman was still near in memory and in spirit. "He was the only one who could reach that hidden part of me," Redford concluded. "The only one who could make me laugh until my ribs hurt. The only one who could challenge me without saying a word. And that's why I'll always carry him with me." That kind of friendship doesn't end. It stays. It shapes you. It becomes part of your very being. In his confession at 89, Robert Redford showed not just the depth of his bond with Paul Newman, but also a truth everyone can understand, that even the strongest, most private people need someone who can see them fully. For Redford, that someone was Newman, the only one who could do that to him. On September 16th, 2025, the world lost one of its most lasting cultural figures when Robert Redford passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 89. His death happened at his beloved home in Sundance, Utah, a place that was far more than just a house. It was the physical form of his life's beliefs, his creative vision, and his legacy. Redford had long loved the natural beauty and isolation of Sundance, having bought land there in the 1960s as a getaway from the pressures of Hollywood. Over the decades, it became not only his personal safe place, but also the birthplace of the Sundance Institute and the Sundance Film Festival, organizations that reshaped the landscape of independent cinema and gave countless young filmmakers the chance to share their voices. For him, to take his final rest in the very environment he helped create was deeply fitting, almost poetic. The news of his passing touched people across the globe. For millions, Redford was not simply an actor, director, or activist. He was a symbol of American artistry and strength. His striking good looks and natural charm had made him a movie idol in the 1960s and 1970s, with unforgettable performances in films such as Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid, The Sting, and All the President's Men. Yet his appeal went beyond his appearances on screen. Audiences admired his ability to balance his Hollywood career with a life of values, speaking up for causes and independent thought. He brought to his roles a quiet intelligence, an understated sense of humor, and a real human warmth that made his characters timeless.